The Sower by Victor Marie Hugo, translated in English by Turudat. The poem The Sower is written by famous French writer and poet Victor Marie Hugo. He is well known as for his poetry, drawings, novels, and also he is a famous journalist. He is particularly famous among the romantic writers. So, regarding in France, one of the country's greatest poet, he is better known for novels Notre Dame de Paris and Les Miserables. Romantic features were one of the major factors which made Victor Hugo famous among his contemporaries. This poem is translated by Indian poet Turudat. He was a Bengali poet and wrote in English and French. Was born on 4th March 1856 in Kolkata. She is considered to be first Indian poetess to write verses in English and French. She translated dozens of poems and completed a novel before her death at the age of 21. Today we are discussing the first three stanzas of the poem The Sower. We can go through the lines of the poem. Sitting in a porch with cool, fade the ruddy sunlight first. To light hasten on to rule. Working hours are well nigh past. Shadow shoots across the land, but once over lingers still. All rags he patient stand, looking on. I feel a thrill. Black and high his silhouette dominates the furrow deeps. Now to sow the task is set. Soon shall come a time to reap. The theme of the poem. The focusing elements in the poem are dedication and commitment of the sower, his perseverance, and the poet's acknowledgement of the sower's actions as being selfless and noble. The values that one learned from this poem is determination, perseverance, and selflessness. The Sower is a poem originally written by Victor Marie Hugo in French language, but it is translated by Bengali poetess Turudat in English language. The title of the poem represents the central character of the poem, that is the sower. The poem is about hard work and persistence of the sower who is working hard on the farm while the poet observes his actions. The poem is a description of a lawn farmer toiling in his fields as the poet watches even after sundown. The poem speaks in praise of his dedication. The poem is woven around the theme is of a farmer surveying his land, taking upon himself the hard work to till it, and plodding on into the night even after the day is done. He seeks neither help nor company, but does what needs doing. The central idea of the poem revolves around the sowing seeds of the sower while the poet observes him and beginning to reverse for his noble actions. The poetic devices used in the poem are alliteration, personification, hyperbole, etc. The structure of the poem is slightly complex because it has been in the way that it maintains the rhyming scheme ABAB. It has steady rhythm and consistent meter. The poet follows the narrative styles of writing. The language comprises the words used in manner to create a commanding figure of the farmer in order to emphasize the importance of his occupation and the toil it entailed. Black high his silhouette dominate symbolic and huge figures, and against the sky marches he along. I see him stride, a confident figure in charge. His height seems to touch the starry skies, a figure to respect. The poet herself is in a way and to set the reader's minds to look at the farmers with respect and reverence which is must give him. The special features is used in the poem are imageries and symbolism. The the novelities in this poem are extract translation of the lines from French by Touruder. She chose to provide a true account of the observations as written by Victor Hugo. Her retention of the optimistic tone of the poem makes the poet refreshing and appealing. The focusing element of the poem are the dedication and the commitment of the sower, his perseverance, and the poet's acknowledgement of the sower's actions as being selfless and noble. The sower's commitment towards his hard work and the poet admiration of the sower is give the poem a positive encouraging tone, thus making the summary of the poem is going like this. The poem The Sower is translation of a Victor Marie Hugo's French poem done by Touruder. It describes an encounter between the poem speaker, who sits within a pathway, and titular the sower, whom the speaker watches. He carried out his task of planting seeds. As the sun set and the hours for planting seeds come to a close, the speaker is fascinating by the sower's motion and the figure as he sets about his farming task. As the scenes get darker and darker, the silhouetted figures of the sower becomes less and less distinct, and the speaker moves on the almost transcendent nature of his exercises. By the end of the poem, we are made considered in a new and exciting light, as well as think about the contrast between the speaker who sits more and less indoor and the sower whose job necessarily involving engagement with nature.